This week in games, we break down everything that happened at the Nintendo Direct. Embracer thinks AI is the future of gaming, and the PlayStation 3 is coming to the PlayStation 5 because they can't get any original games for themselves, Connor. This is the Two Penny Gamescast. What's poppin', players? Welcome back to the Two Penny Gamescast, episode 205. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friend and co-host. Say hello to the people, Connor, Elliott.
Hello and greetings. It's a wonderful Tuesday when you're listening to this.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. Connor, how's your week been, friend?
It's been good.
Good.
We had the release of Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree, the big talk of the town in the gaming scene.
It is? Too hard, some people say.
Pussies.
Pussies!
Absolute ones. I mean, when Kai Cenat, who just beat the game recently,
Yeah.
is able to come on and say, quit bitching. And yeah.
I just want to say, all these motherfuckers who are still in our TikTok comments, follow us on TikTok, Two Penny Games. It's in the description down below. Still in my comments talking about how, I'm not gamer enough to play fucking Elden Ring. I'm not out here bitching about the difficulty of the game. Is it difficult? Sure. Is it a problem? Absolutely fucking not. I'm a goddamn gamer, you know?
Here's why it's become a problem,
Yeah.
okay? It's because Elden Ring got the most amount of players on FromSoft games. Some people who haven't played these kinds of games, and they got caught unaware. They might have been able to work the game to their advantage in the main one, but this new DLC, they're fresh meat in the water.
Do you think that's the problem?
I think so. Because it makes sense as to why so many Steam people just deranked the game, lowered the value of it.
I guess.
More people allow for more people to do such a thing. And this is the biggest FromSoft game. It's the first time you've seen this criticism come up.
I'm seeing Soulsborne fans who are coming out and saying, yo, I've played everything, and this is fucking hard.
Yeah, see, I haven't seen that online.
I'm seeing that. So, I mean, it's probably a mix of both is really what the truth is you know, the magnification plus the difficulty being ranked up or whatever. But I think it's that mixed with a large amount of people who just play these games and then like maybe don't come back for DLCs that often, but because this one's so big there and Elden Ring was so major that they're like, oh, I'll go back for this one, you know? And so they weren't aware of the difficulty hike that was coming their way. And then on top of that, they've been spending the last 2 years playing New Game Plus, re-obsessing over it. You know, the popularity of Kai Cenat streams going viral and all these things, and so you know they're jumping in and just fucking trouncing the game. They're overpowered, over-leveled for it all, and then they get to that DLC and they get reset to 0, and they're not aware, or they forgot that this game's fucking hard.
This one makes it even more so. Harder than the base game, for certain.
It's a difficult game. I don't think the base game's that hard.
But they didn't, like, two-shot you so often. In this one, there's many enemies that you're just like, oh, I died. You saw one of them, I think, with the fire breath from the dragon.
Yeah, you died. Yeah, you lost probably, like... It wasn't full health, but it was more than, like, 3/4 health. It was a lot of health, and you had a lot of health.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was a lot.
Big bar.
But, you know, I'm like level 38 right now. I'm getting 2 or 3 shot.
Yeah.
You know?
It evens out, though, when you get your vigor.
I'm not getting 2 or 3 shot by, like, normal dudes, though.
No, right.
You know?
That sometimes can happen here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you've been leveling up vigor, haven't you?
At a fair pace.
Yeah. There's a subclass of Elden Ring players that are deemed disgusting, I should say.
Because they don't level up vigor?
Because they don't level up vigor.
They're too scummy with it.
And you see, like, high dex and intelligence or mind or
all
endurance.
the other stats are real high, but the vigor real low.
Yeah.
You know, so that they output stupid damage, but they're glass cannons.
Easy pickings.
Yeah.
People like me tank through things. One of the bosses in the DLC, I heard a bunch of like, this guy's so hard, and they were more difficult. But me and him, we were on the same wavelength, so we respected one another.
Going back and forth.
Yes, so it was a lot more of a back and forth.
Yeah.
So I didn't have the same problem.
Trying to remember feeling a FromSoft boss that respected me. Can't think of one. Having trouble.
They're pretty disrespectful most of the time.
Yeah.
But
I can think of Souls-like bosses that respected me. You think of Fallen Order, the Sith Lord on Dathomir. That guy respected me.
He did, actually, yeah.
You know, that was a respectable. It was the best fight in that game. Struggling to think of another one, though. I'll be honest, struggling. There's probably some Jedi Survivor fights that were like, okay, yeah, we're going back and forth. This is a good time. Trying to think of Sekiro. Genichiro didn't respect me. Made him respect me though.
Ishin did though.
Fucking, I don't know if Ishin did.
He was the guy he amped you up earlier in the game. He was
like sword. You know who respected you? Lady Butterfly. Lady Butterfly.
She did respect
the fuck out of you. That one felt good. That one felt good. That's such a good game.
Yeah.
Make us play it for Game Club or Game Club next one, please.
It is on there.
Please, Connor.
Oh, what am I going to pick?
What are you gonna pick?
I'm looking forward to it.
Probably gonna be like way less interesting than anything I've fucking named, and I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, we're playing that one. Sure. All right, sounds good. But, ladies and gentlemen, you're not here to hear us talking about Elden Ring, though. Maybe you are. Who knows? Review coming soon. Give us a couple of weeks on that one. It's a big DLC. It takes time. You are here to talk about the nerdy news you need to know, and that's what we're here to provide. Each week, me and Connor come to you live, twitch.tv/TwoPennyGames, every Monday afternoon to give you the nerdy news you need to know concerning the video game industry. It, of course, then goes live on youtube.com/@TwoPennyGames and mainstream podcast services of your choice, Tuesday, 8 a.m. Central Time. And we each come to you with two topics, 2 pennies, if you will, and we give you our 2 cents on them. Make sure to drop a like, a subscribe, and a comment down below about any topics of conversation that maybe we missed throughout the week that you would like to hear us talk about, or just an evergreen topic that we can have a quick casual conversation about as well down in the comments below, so that we can integrate a 2 pennies from the audience into next week's show. Connor, some people forget that we're not just on YouTube, and we're not just on Twitch, but we're also on the Spotifys and the Apples, your mainstream podcast services, but we're also on TikTok and on Twitter. Follow us down below. All of our links are in the description down below for all of those things. Connor, let's get right into it, my friend.
Do it.
First topic of the day, my first penny of the day. Of course, last week we were caught in a time vortex. We record on Mondays. They announced on Monday that a Nintendo Direct was happening for Tuesday at like 10 a.m. our time. Our episodes go live at 8 a.m. our time. I think it was 9 a.m. actually. So we predicted last week what would happen to the Nintendo Direct. I uploaded that clip out a little early, like a few hours, that night, Monday night, just so that, people could still get our views and opinions about what could possibly come. But then, of course, it did happen, and me and Phil uploaded a Nintendo Direct React, which is live on the channel now. Go and check that out. But, Connor, did you watch the Nintendo Direct?
I did. Oh. Obviously not live. Watching it get drip-fed to me, it seemed better than it was. Not that it was bad, but it really was just a lot of we're bringing this game back. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Unfortunately, they weren't games that I particularly cared for. And so, I'm certainly, there's a group of people, those Nintendo fans who, of course, come to these shows all the time, super happy and excited to see whatever Nintendo does next, are pretty satisfied, most likely. General audiences, I think, liked some of the games that, peaked out among the rest.
I think this Direct was fine to good. There were some missing components that I really wish we had. Such as we were so certain that those Zelda HD Twilight Princess Wind Wakers were a lock for this show. No sight. No, not at all. No idea when those are coming. Now, granted, we are in the last probably year of the Nintendo Switch before Nintendo Switch 2 happens. Probably later this year, Switch 2 is going to be announced in some way, some big presentation and so forth. So, some of these games that we're hoping on and expecting probably going to be in that. Metroid Prime 4 obviously ended the Direct. And had its showing finally re-revealed to the public as Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, there were just some things in this Direct that I was expecting that were kind of missing. But they matched that with some stuff that I wasn't expecting, and I'm glad it was here. Highlights of me, of course, we're about to get into it. Mario and Luigi Brothership and Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom were the big highlights for me. From there, I mean, if you're a Switch fan, these games probably, appeal to you in a lot of different ways. I think clearly Nintendo sees a lot of success with sort of indie RPGs or sort of the anime RPG or just your casual gaming, sort of laid back. What do they call that? low stress games like a Animal Crossing or like a
Relaxed games.
Yeah, just a relaxed Stardew Valley type thing. Yeah, the nice relaxing games or so forth. So you get the whatever that farming RPG was that we'll talk about in here a little later. Things like that. These things are fine. I thought we moved at a good enough pace to where like I didn't get too bored as we were getting through some of those segments and so forth. But yeah, things like the Zelda remasters not coming through, things like Hollow Knight being nowhere to be seen, were disappointing, to be sure. But I think this was a fine direct. It was fine.
And to their credit, their directs are always, even if the games themselves aren't too interesting, the format that they've locked down for these many years makes it go by, as you said, quickly, not really bore you out.
Cozy games, Phil says in the chat. Remember, you can join us, watch us live, twitch.tv/TwoPennyGames. I would agree with you, but there have been times where, like, I remember Fire Emblem Three Houses, as much as I love that game, had a huge presentation, took up like 15 minutes of the goddamn direct, and it was like, we don't need to know about this. This can all be done in the game later.
You just don't respect that game.
And there's been a bunch of games like that. I don't really, excuse me. It was like one of my favorite games of that year. How dare you? Anyways, but Connor, let's get into it. Let's talk about some of these things. Mario and Luigi Brothership will be released on Nintendo Switch November 7th, 2024. This was a bit of a surprise to it. They, of course, have been bringing back a lot of the Mario RPGs, mostly in remake form. Thousand Year Door we got this year. Super Mario RPG we got last year. And those have been really, really well received. And so now it's Mario and Luigi. Not a remake this time. New game. I've never played a Mario and Luigi. Kind of forgot that it was a franchise that happened. Phil guessed it pretty quickly. Things that stood out for me. Love the art style. Love like kind of the variety in gameplay and how you navigate the environments and so forth. And then the turn-based RPG-ness of it looked very alive and active, and a lot of really cool animations happening. So I'm very, mark me down, very much interested in this. I'm playing this game absolutely. I love the art style so much. I can't say that enough. The art style looks awesome.
People love these Mario RPGs. They swear by them every single time I hear someone talk about them. So this will probably be no exception.
Yeah. Didn't do anything for you?
I mean, not really. No.
You got to get past this, Mario. You're such a hater.
You're
such a hater.
It's just like you have to do more. I don't care that enough. Oh, sure, it does. It's just I have tons of other games to play, and only so much time. I'm not really in the Mario craze. Not like you and Phil. If I were to play it, I guarantee you, I would enjoy my time with it the entire way through.
You're a punk.
This
I'm
fucking
saying it.
guy. Like it's fucking.
Nintendo World Championships NES edition. Play a bunch of the NES games in a championship format type thing. This is, I think, I think I predicted it in that same realm of this is like the equivalent of a 99 game showing up, like a Tetris 99 or this, that, and a third. But it's more of like compete and speed runs of, Super Mario Brothers, the original, with, all the other players in the world and so forth, sort of a stat-based thing.
Cool spin on it.
Cool for those who like it. Nice little, collection thing going on here. Fairy Tail 2 will be released winter 2024. This game did nothing for me. This is one of those anime RPGs that I very quickly tune out of. All these games look the fucking same to me. I'm sorry. Like, they just do.
But this one's by a notable artist.
Who cares?
Hey, don't say that, because it's an untrue statement.
Fantasia Neo Dimension. I don't remember this one.
This either will be run-of-the-mill, does nothing for anybody RPG, nothing specifically for anybody, or it's going to be great. The tone of it reminds me of those RPGs that just kind of come out of nowhere and you play for hours and hours and hours and has a good story.
Oh, yeah, this is another one that, I'll take a pass on this one, too. Mm-hmm. Released winter 2024. Nintendo Switch Sports Update. Basketball is being added for free to Nintendo Switch Sports, and you'll be able to enjoy 2-on-2 matches and a variety of challenges. This update will be arriving in summer 2024. Cool for those who like Nintendo Switch Sports. Kind of an underwhelming update because basketball is not... Well, like, of course, basketball really popular and stuff, but, like, Wii Sports Resorts had that a long-ass time ago. So, like, what took so long for them to get this? Kind of too little, too late. Mio Memories in Orbit. This game looked interesting. Had a really cool art style, little, kind of like platforming-esque game, right?
It looked charming.
Yeah.
Cool movement going on.
Yeah, I loved the art style. Loved kind of the dour tone that it's got going on. But it's very kind of like Limbo-esque, kind of Inside-esque, but with some more like platforming, challenging, and combat stuff going on.
Platform-esque.
Maybe Metroidvania-ish. It looks like maybe a little bit. It's hard to tell right here, but this was an impressive showing. I enjoyed that. That's coming next year. Definitely put it on my radar.
Big moment for the show for you.
Oh, hell yeah. Disney Illusion Island update. Getting a detective-themed update for free. It's already out. You can play it right now. Just a fun little side quest thing, it looks like. Reusing assets and so forth and traveling the world. Disney Illusion Island's a great game. Play it. If you haven't played it, there's a cool reason if you're a big fan of that game to go back to it. I never beat it. I'm cool. I don't need to go back to it. But Disney Illusion Island was a really, really fun game from last year. Really worth playing. Hello Kitty Island Adventure will be released in 2025.
Hey, for those Animal Crossing fans, they need to stave it off.
The kind of some Tamagotchi vibe.
Tavin.
Yeah.
You can just say Hello Kitty vibes. It's Hello Kitty.
I mean, it's Hello Kitty, but I'm trying to give what the game is, Connor. By relating it to another game.
Animal Crossing with Hello Kitty in it.
Sure. Yeah, that works. Looney Tune Wacky World of Sports, autumn 2025. This looked kind of mid, but all right, cool. Looney Tunes. I was saying it in the React. This reminded me of a bunch of Looney Tune games we got in the Wii era that were just like some shovelware crap that like you would just kind of play and you would randomly, as a kid, you would get. This is one of those. Among Us getting an update with a bunch of new roles. That update is out now. You can get like the detective role and like the tracker role and all these things. Things that mods have had forever, but now is coming to the console versions of these games. Cool. Farmagia. This is that farming RPG that I mentioned earlier. Will be released November 2024. Doesn't look too bad, but I've got other things to do, and a little generic looking. It's kind of serendipitously working off of the success of a game like Pal World. Got some Pokemon-esque things happening. You're running around with some wildlife and creatures are helping you out and so forth. It's all right.
You might not notice, but it's the same artist who designed the characters for the Fairy Tail game.
Donkey Kong Country Returns HD is coming January 16th, 2025. Kind of random date there. You would kind of expect something like this kind of sooner. Everybody loves Donkey Kong Country Returns. But it being on the Wii, there was some control issues there. Then got released to the 3DS, but didn't look the greatest, but played the best. This one kind of meeting in the middle. Again, not looking fantastic visually, in my opinion, but we'll have the control in the set of the 3DS that the 3DS had. So I think this will probably be arguably the best way to play this game. And that's exciting for people who are excited about it. If you like things like the Tropical Freeze re-release on Switch, you'll probably like this. I hear this one's a little bit better. Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake. This looks awesome. This is kind of Dragon Quest 3, but like sort of with that almost with that, what are those games? Like the Octopath Traveler / Triangle Strategy art style type things going on. I really like how this looks. I think it looks badass. I really want to play it. But it is coming November 14th, 2024. Kind of afraid I won't have time for it. Not a great time for a remake like this. But next year, we should be getting HD 2D remakes of Dragon Quest 1 and 2. That's exciting. Those games are old. And so it's exciting to get them on new hardware with a refreshed look. They're turn-based RPGs and so forth, so I can't expect them to. I don't think they're going to play too differently.
I wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't think so, but you never know. Maybe they will, or maybe there's going to be like huge quality of life updates that kind of change a lot, sort of like a Persona 3 Reload type thing going on.
I've never played a Dragon Quest game.
Me neither.
So be interesting to.
I would kind of be down to check this one out. I just wish it was like, in the next 2 months, not in November where everything else is fucking releasing. Funko Fusion. This is a open world 3D action game where you play as Funko Pops from a bunch of different games and so forth. This game looks terrible. It looks absolutely fucking awful.
If you like Funko Pops, get this game.
I guess, but like also, have some self-respect for yourself, I guess. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD coming June 27th. Just kind of a reminder that that's happening. Cool. The new Denpa Men releasing July 22nd, 2024. This game gave me Tamagotchi Life vibes, hardcore. But it's a little more like, it's almost like if Pikmin met like a turn-based RPG. And so it looks cute and interesting. I'm not going to give it the time of day, but you know, if you enjoy little cute games, this is a cute game.
Those guys aren't cute.
No?
They're little freaks.
They're cute. They're like just up like who's that guy in Zelda? Twinkle?
You trust Twinkle?
I don't know a fucking thing about Twinkle, but you know, that's what they look like.
See,
Twinkle's cute,
all those
isn't he?
characters, they're just suspicious people.
Metal Slug Attack Reloaded is out now. You can play it right now on your Nintendo Switch. This is just the old games, but looking better. 300 characters to duke it out, or is this a different game? I don't know.
Maybe it's a different game.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with Metal Slug.
Darkest Dungeon 2 will be released on July 15th, 2024. You're excited for this, Connor?
Yeah, I'll play it eventually because the first one's so good. But, you know, I'm not like
This game's not out already?
I think it is, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or it might have been an early access.
Oh, okay.
That might have been what the case was right now. But, you know, it might be one of those games that when time goes on and I have free time, I might jump back into it or jump into it because I like the first one so much.
Yeah.
It's a nice game.
Phil corrects me in the chat. It's
Tingle.
Tingle. Sorry to get the fucking fairy fuckboy name confused.
Hey. He's funny to look at. Not trustworthy, though.
Nintendo Switch Online Plus Expansion Pack is getting some new stuff, including some M-rated titles, Connor, from the Nintendo 64 era, including The Legend of Zelda Link to the Past 4 Swords and Metroid Zero Mission. Also getting titles like from the mature collection, Turok, Dinosaur Hunter, and Perfect Dark. All 4 titles are available now. Very cool. Continuing to add on. I wish, PlayStation's getting a little bit better about this. Xbox has been really good with the backwards compatibility program over the last 5 years or so, 5-6 years, something like that. And so to see Nintendo continuing to do this, I really, really appreciate. I really like it. Some like game preservation type things, get some emulation stuff going on. I wish I could just outright buy these things. I don't love that I have to do a subscription for it, but as long as it's there, that makes me happy. And they continue just to add things that people care about. Metroid Zero Mission is a beloved Metroid game. Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past 4 Swords, cool for people who like that. Link to the Past already available in the online thing, but add the little 4 Swords mode. Neat. Phantom Brave: The Lost Hunter.
Lost Hero.
Oh, excuse me. The Lost Hero. You're right. Yep. Hard no.
I don't remember this.
Okay, great. This will be released in 2025. This has sort of like a chibi look to it. It's one of them anime RPGs, but chibified. And I won't lie, it looks cute, but hard no. Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics.
Cool.
This will be released later 2024, including a lot of Marvel / Capcom classic games, such as, some of the old X-Men games, Punisher, and most notably, the thing that got the most praise, Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Very good game. Very, very fun.
Yeah.
Darkstalkers is also a really cool one that unfortunately hasn't gotten a new game in quite some time. People are always hoping it kicks off again. So it's nice you can play it here in the collection. It's just a good thing to buy.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope.
Bring around everywhere.
Love that these classic games are free and coming back and being available and stuff. Again, this is something we got to be better about is video game preservation. Lots of classic games, classic titles are getting caught up in licensing issues or just not being respected enough to come forward and be worked on. So we're losing games to time. Games are being lost. And eventually these games, it's not just a matter of we'll just update the files and put it out later. It's like, oh no, the files get corrupted or it's only hard copies are available and a lot of those hard copies deteriorate and become broken and you can't use them anymore. So, it's just great. When I'm a big, yes, bring the old games back. All of them. I love them all. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But people get criticized PlayStation a lot for being excited for always remastering games or remaking games or putting collections out and so forth. I love them. I love collections. I love ports. I love remasters, remakes. I love them all. Keep them coming. Super Mario Party Jamboree released October 17th, 2024. This is gonna be sort of sequely to that first Super Mario Party game that we got on Switch, not the most recent one.
Superstars, or is that the most recent one?
No, that's the most recent one. We got Super Mario Party, the first one that had like 4 maps and like not enough characters and stuff like that. Was really, really criticized for not having enough content. This seems to be a direct response to that. Lots of content seemingly in this one, jam packed with a lot of fun. I'm excited. I didn't play the last Super Mario Party that came out, or Superstars, Mario Party Superstars. Kind of wish I had. Phil played with his fiance and he loved it. And so this kind of like reminds me of like, oh yeah, that's a thing. Oh, I want to make time for this. I want to play it with my girlfriend and you and some friends or whatever. I want to get into. I want to make time for this one. I want to. Will I? We'll see. But I want to. Next, probably the biggest surprise of the direct here. Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, releasing September 26th, 2024. This is from the Link's Awakening remake team, very clearly. It's in that art style and seems to be taking a lot of gameplay cues from that. A lot of people thought it was a Link to the Past remake from how they framed and opened it up. Phil, for a minute, thought it might have been a remake of the original Legend of Zelda game, but very quickly, the trailer takes a left, and then you start playing as Zelda, and Zelda is playable. This is a brand new Legend of Zelda game from that team. Zelda is your main protagonist in that, but instead of swinging swords or casting magic spells, you're like you're kind of like capturing things in Pokeballs or like a Pokemon type equivalent mechanic of like just capturing a bunch of stuff and then re-releasing it. So you'll capture enemy NPCs and then re-release them, and they'll be on your side and they'll do the fighting for you. And then there's a lot of puzzle solving by like capturing tables and benches and things and figuring environmental puzzles out and so forth. I think it looks quite good. I'm curious as how well this one's going to hit, but the Link's Awakening remake was received exceptionally well, and instead they could have very easily just thrown that team at a Link to the Past remake, but instead gave them the freedom to do their own thing and give them a full, it's not rebranded as a Legend of Zelda spin-off, it's just the Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. So this is, in my opinion, standing right next to that Link's Awakening remake, so I'm hoping for the best here, and I think there's a chance that this is going to be a banger.
Frankly, if it doesn't have a Link in it, is it really Legend of Zelda?
I mean, Link's in it.
Playing them?
You just got to go save them, though. You got to go save them.
I saw people saying that they should call it Legend of Link. Be way better.
Yeah, but that would give the spin-off vibe.
I know.
And they want to put this as this is a mainline Zelda game title.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for it. Didn't do anything for you?
Not really, but it did look good.
Yeah.
It definitely did. You know.
I played the Link's Awakening remake, didn't beat it, got lost at some point and then moved on. But what I played, I was enjoying it. It was a good time.
It's good that they're able to make their own game now.
Just Dance 2025 coming out in October.
We're not talking about that more?
Nope. Lego Horizon Adventures. Just a reminder that it's coming for Switch. We talked about this during the PlayStation State of Play, right? No,
yeah.
Summer Game Showcase.
That's
Summer Game Fest. Excuse me.
Opening act.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I still think this game looks good. Connor, this is the game I'm fucking talking about. Grab this fucking game off the goddamn table.
I'm thinking about it. Come on, calm down.
Fucking bitch. Stray is coming to Nintendo Switch this winter.
You're a cat.
Check out our review for Stray, out now. YouTube.com/@TwoPennyGames. Tales of the Shire, a Lord of the Rings game. It's time to head to Middle Earth. Tales of the Shire, a Lord of the Rings game, will be released winter 2024. Connor, you excited?
The Shire doesn't look as pretty as I remember it to look.
No, it doesn't look very pretty at all. But it's kind of like a Sims-ish type game, right?
Yeah.
Ish.
I think.
Seemed
to be the way.
That'd be kind of an interesting game in the Lord of the Rings universe. And it doesn't look terrible. Like, it's got a real simplistic art style, but, it could be kind of cool.
Probably gonna be
under
the radar.
It looks like some shovelware Switch title that you would see 100 times. But, I think if people are looking for a cozy game, this is a cozy game. And, I think it'll be interesting.
It better be cozy.
Ace Attorney Investigations Collection, September 6th, 2024. This is a spin-off series in the Ace Attorney franchise. Phil knew more about this than I did, where you play as the detective or the investigator or something like that.
The prosecutor.
The prosecutor, excuse me. That's right. You play as the prosecutor. He's acting like a detective, though, which is not how that works.
Phoenix Wright also acts like a detective.
Oh, does he really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, these games are fucked.
These games are very fun, though.
Are they?
Yes.
I've never played one.
They're very fun.
Yeah.
You would like them. They're, like I said, they're mystery games. So you have to basically, like I said, you're serving as detective, but also as the defense attorney. And so you're having to use those as a ways to get your client off. And a bunch of wacky characters.
Heyo. The 100 Line Last Defense Academy, which will release in early 2025. Another anime-looking, RPG-looking game type thing.
Danganronpa.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. No. Yeah, that's right. This is the Danganronpa thing, but that's like a new series franchise thing. Okay. No, this game actually, I forget. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize. Let me take that back.
Look at
Let
you.
me run it back. Let me run it back. This game looked neat.
It did.
It looks neat.
When does it come out? This year?
Early next year.
Early next year, yeah.
Early next year. Will I play it? I don't know, but I imagine Phil's going to give it a look-see.
I might as well.
Really?
It interested me when it said that some of your characters are going to die.
Right.
Which in Danganronpa,
that's how it goes. Someone dying.
It's not that they're doing a different game where that's still a thing that's going to happen.
Oh, that's right. This game had a terrible title treatment.
Yeah.
Look at that title. Fucking awful. The 100 line. How do I read it? Fucking the 100 line is illegible. It just looks like fucking future code. Which is like cool. It looks cool, I guess, but I can't read the fucking name of the goddamn game.
Tavin, you're going to an academy in this game where you're going to learn. One of those things is inferencing skills. 100. You should be able to know that means 100. Ein. Come on, you know the name of the game.
Are you misreading the 100 line?
No.
The letters you're keeping out are there. The H is right there.
Yeah, but you can't really. You have to use the inference clues from not the H to know it says 100.
The other thing.
It's requiring you to use your brain power.
Last Defense Academy. And then, like, how do you read it? Because my brain goes the 100 Last Defense Academy line.
Yeah,
but that's not what it is. A terrible title.
You can't do much with that part.
It's just objectively awful. It looks terrible. Anyways, I can't read your name. Romancing Saga 2 Revenge of the Seven. Don't remember this game.
This is like you're overseeing your kingdom over generations. It looked, once again, this also looked very fun. It's a remake of a game. It's a remake of the second one. Looks like it has fun combat. The narrative, beat seems interesting. I don't know how they're going to pull it off with the characters and whatnot, since I'm assuming if your characters are going through multiple generations, they're going to die, and you get new party
this game
members.
better have great writing. If this game has like very generic writing or like something even bad to the level of like Fire Emblem Engage, fucking dying on the vine. But I don't know. Maybe it is good. It's a remake, right?
It is. Yeah. I was going to look and see what the how the last one was received.
Go ahead and do that while I talk about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond here. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond finally re-revealed announcement trailer. This is coming next year, 2025. This is probably a Switch 2 / cross-generational title, much like the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was. So this is probably going to come. I have a feeling Nintendo is saving their lineup, and they're going to hit us hard next year with a lot of titles. Maybe even those HD Zelda titles that I keep talking about. But Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, this game looks good. It looks good. Kind of looks like a Metroid Prime game. Which puts you at risk because you just put out Metroid Prime Remastered, which was a really, really big update to the original game. And, you take a classic game and make it better, and then, people are going to love it. So now you have to be as good as that. And we'll see. I don't know. It looks like a Metroid Prime game where if it's not broke, don't fix it type thing. They're not looking for a big evolution of the series here is what I took from this. This is saying, hey, if you loved Metroid Prime, come play this one.
Return to form.
Yeah.
I think it looks great. Something about Metroid games. I played Metroid Prime and then Metroid Prime Echoes back in the day. I didn't beat either of them, but I sunk a pretty good amount of time into it. They just play fun. They're just nice to go through. Good level of design.
Yeah.
From what I remember.
Oh, well, that would be the whole point of a Metroid game.
It would be.
But Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, don't love the subtitle. Kind of feel like you could have just kept it at Metroid Prime 4 and, we'd be happy with that. Sort of a reestablishing of, kind of putting a purple, when it was last announced, when we last saw Metroid Prime 4, which was just a title treatment. It was very blue. Now we're purple. Beyond, pretty generic word kind of used, so I don't really understand the point. But I'm gonna just go ahead and hope for the best here. I think this was a good showing and it worked out okay. How's that Romancing Saga thing?
The original? Well, this is like a port from the Nintendo Switch. I just see. So it's 70. So let me hope that's not a
Romancing Saga 2, Revenge of the Seven?
Yeah.
Oh, but the first game, Romancing Saga 1?
2. Well, that's why I was looking up Romancing Saga 2, but it's a port for the Switch, not the original. So I'm trying to find out if there's like some problem with the port.
All right.
Or if that's just what the game's like.
Well, we'll just move on then.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal. But yeah, overall, Nintendo Direct, June 2024. Listen, this is as successful as it needed to be, right? Like this, it did what it needed to do. Not really a whole lot more. It just told us that, hey, Nintendo still got some stuff coming this year, which is exciting. You know, some stuff to put up on the calendar coming to your Nintendo Switch this year. But
it's a transition year.
Yeah, we're on our way out. You know, we're on our way out. So it's kind of time to they're just kind of putting shit out just to put shit out.
Hey,
you know,
got a great run.
Had a great
Fantastic.
run. We need to really sit down and talk about how Nintendo Switch, you know, it's in that conversation best of all time.
It is.
It really is, you know. So, yeah.
The function of it and the games.
Switch did great, you know, fantastic. Didn't always have a banger year, that Switch. Sometimes
not
be
always.
a little dead, take a little time to get something to it. But there was always something to play on the Switch. There was always something. It's just it didn't always appeal to mainstream gaming and things like that. You know, you really saw a rise in indie titles, a rise in cozy games, and just fun little experimental stuff. I liked it.
Yeah.
Listen, it was a good console. I don't even think it's gonna go down as Nintendo's best console, but it's in that conversation. It's a great console.
Looking forward to what they have the next.
Yeah. Hey, man, if it's just Switch 1, runs better, looks better, with more games, I'm into it.
That's all they really need to do.
It's really all they need to do. You've got a really, really good working formula here, Nintendo. Don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
Moving on, topic number 2, my second penny of the day. Connor, I don't give a fuck what you think. I don't care if you want this title.
Well, you care more about this because
of course I do.
You had a PlayStation 3.
I still do.
You still do? Well, you don't care about this then.
No, it's a great fucking console. Great fucking console, and I want to play it on my PS5. Anyways, rumor, huge grain of salt. Because this rumor comes around every goddamn year, it feels like. But the industry's really, the streets are murmuring with this one. They're really talking about it, which makes me hope that something great is going to happen here. So, rumor, Sony may be working on a native PS3 backwards compatibility. We are pulling from Eddie's Gunner, GameRant.com. Sony could be working on a solution to make PlayStation 3 games natively playable on PlayStation 5 consoles, according to recent claims made by a reputable insider. Despite some of Sony's latest efforts to remedy the issue, the PS5's underwhelming backwards compatibility has been a consistent point of criticism for the otherwise impressive current-gen consoles. Has it? Is the backwards compatibility? I mean, it's the 4 games.
It just has it, yeah.
They're working on the 2s, you know?
I guess they didn't like it.
I don't know. I don't know what that is. In large part because most games from previous PlayStation generations, sans the PS4 era, aren't playable on the PS5. I mean, yeah, sure. But, like, the PS4 had no backwards compatibility. So what are we talking about here? Anyways. If this rumor is to be believed, though, then Sony might finally fix one of the biggest flaws with its current hardware offering by providing a native support for PlayStation 3 games on PS5. Although Sony sometimes adds ports of older PlayStation games to the PlayStation Plus catalog, PlayStation Premium Classics catalog, the PS5's backwards compatibility still leaves a lot to be desired. After all, the large majority of PS1, PS2, PS3, PSP, and PS Vita games, Lord alive, are not playable on modern PlayStation platforms. In fact, the titles from these console generations that can be played on Sony's latest hardware often come with some caveats. For one, these classic games are only available digitally on the platform, meaning the original physical copies of these titles aren't supported on the PS5. Additionally, in the case... All right. Might run their PS2 might not be able... Okay. Reading through the rest of this is a lot of filler, a lot of like, hey, I had to hit 750 words here. Got it. Okay.
The idea is that
that's at least according to credible insider special special underscore Nick, who alleged on the latest episode of Xbox Era Podcast that Sony is reportedly planning to make PS3 games run natively playable on PS5. The reputable leaker's sources apparently told him that, quote, Sony is working on select PlayStation 3 backwards compatibility for the PlayStation 5. The word select in this context seemingly indicates that Sony will individually handpick some PS3 titles to make playable on the PS5, similar to what Microsoft did with the backwards compatible games on Xbox One and Xbox Series X/S. When this was mentioned, a chat member from the Livestream podcast brought up the idea of PS3 games potentially having their frame rates and resolutions boosted on the PS5. However, when special underscore Nick said that he wasn't exactly sure about the specifics. Quote, I didn't get any more details than that. Will it have an FPS boost? I've got no idea. All I heard was that Sony's working on selected PS3 backwards compatibility. Connor, let me tell you why this is important. All right? Let me tell you why this is important. There's a long list here, Connor. Are you ready? First and foremost, most desired, absolutely by everybody, Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots.
Oh, this is what he's doing.
100%. You need to have it. You need to bring it forward. Let's get it. Right? Maybe even the original Demon Souls would be cool. Yeah, bring that back. But we also have games like Little Big Planet. We also have games like Infamous 1, Infamous 2, Infamous Festival of Blood, which was a great DLC expansion for Infamous 2 that needs to come forward. The Killzone trilogy, the Resistance trilogy, the Ratchet and Clank games that were on PS3. There's a large catalog of games that need to come forward that are sorely, sorely missed. Fuck it, I'll even say it. PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. Give it back to me, please. I would very much like to play it on a PlayStation 5.
That's like only you.
At least for nostalgia reasons, it'd be fun. On top of that, third-party games that could come forward that would be really great. Dead Space 1, Dead Space 2, Dead Space 3 even, I guess, if you fucking want. I mean, I guess if you already have 1 and 2, might as well have that one. You can kind of play Borderlands already. What else was classic on those? A lot of the Call of Duty games, old Call of Duty games coming back forward.
Killzone.
I said that, Killzone trilogy.
Oh, you did.
Killzone. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of really classic games that just kind of got slept on in that generation. We can kind of bring those back. If your name's not Naughty Dog, your games didn't come forward,
Which is a damn shame because, as you've talked about before, preserving games is something that should be a greater focus. Some companies do better than others. If this is true, PlayStation, Sony might be able to enter that, that echelon of people who actually give a damn about saving games they've made in the past.
Yeah.
But as you said, it's a rumor. There's a reason why they stressed it at the beginning of the article. It could just be bullshit. That sounds great, and that sounds like something easily someone could come up with on the internet somewhere, and it just take off into being a rumor that goes nowhere.
But it's matched with their PS2 collection growing. Most notably, they had a lot of success with Sly Cooper and the Thieves Raccoonus that came out this last month. By far their most successful title there. They had a Tomb Raider game come back, old Star Wars games coming back. Bunch of cool titles being added. Daxter from the PSP is coming back. So Sony has a team working to bring what was old back to the forefront again. So I imagine we'll get a lot of PS3 is obviously the biggest question mark because it's so hard to bring those games forward. You basically have to do a whole bunch of work to get that to work. How is that going to work? I don't know. That cell processor was a bitch, man. But a lot of these titles were also available on the PlayStation Vita, which did work off different hardware. So maybe we kind of use sort of a Frankenstein, stitch them together of any games that were cross platform in that ways. So the Sly Cooper collection, the Ratchet and Clank collection, Jack and Daxter collection, the Sly 4, God of War 1 and 2 collection. Those games could come back in their prime forms or whatever. I kind of think you should just kind of give us the original PS2 games like you have with Sly 1 and what you've been doing over there. Kind of should probably just give those again. But it'd be cool to have those again. Again, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. I think Little Big Planet 2? Because 3 was on PS4, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Little Big Planet 2, I believe, was crossplay between the two systems, PS3 and PS Vita, so kind of pulling that forward. Metal Gear Solid Legacy Collection that Bluepoint did would be cool. The Shadow of Colossus / Eco Pack that Bluepoint did. Bring those forward. There's a lot of stuff on the PlayStation 3 that's really, really important to bring forward. I think most importantly is, of course, Metal Gear Solid 4, Killzone, Ratchet and Clank, Resistance. What else did I name earlier? Little Big Planet.
We've said a lot of names of
God of
games.
War. I mean, God of War 3 had a remaster on PS4, so maybe not that one. But God of War Ascension could come forward.
Oh, yeah. That was
the prequel title.
Yeah. I forgot that was a PS3 game.
Yeah, it wasn't received very well. You know, it was pretty forgettable. And then there's a lot of like just classic PS3 games that could really, really come forward. Maybe figure out a deal with Activision / Marvel to get some of those old superhero games that were really popular back in the day on the platform. Who knows?
See, I was an Xbox 360 guy, so this is real good for you.
Yeah.
But I've already played the superior console.
Right.
So this is just a little bit of a extra little feed in the trough.
You wouldn't be interested in playing Resistance?
Oh, definitely I would.
Yeah, exactly. yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't say no to games from an entire era being put on new consoles?
Yeah. Now,
No
granted,
reason not.
I expect Metal Gear Solid 4 to be in the next iteration of the MGS Master Collection, the Volume 2 of that. I think Volume 1 was so successful that clearly they're going to do a Volume 2. There was a leak that they were already kind of working on it, but maybe they'll wait for Delta to be a little bit closer to release to put that out, or maybe it'll come after Delta. Who knows?
It's called Volume 1, so...
You hope for a Volume 2.
What's the point of calling it a volume?
Give me a Volume 3 and give me all the spin-off games,
Let me
get some portable ops up in here. Let me get some Rising Revengeance up in here, Connor. Yeah. You know what I don't need, Connor?
What?
MGS5. Don't need that.
MGS Survive, though?
Fuck off. Get the fuck out of here.
It could have been better after time, now that we've, distanced ourselves from all the Konami hate. Maybe it was just misunderstood at the time.
No. No, the game was terrible from everything I saw.
So you didn't actually play it.
No, why the fuck would I? I respect creators, Connor.
Yeah, you respect people on the internet, just random voices saying things. Oh, well.
It was heralded as one of the worst video games ever made.
I remember.
Anyways, I mean, take it with a grain of salt. This is, of course, really hard. Oh, Infamous 1 and 2. Of course. Those are the big ones. The Infamous 1 and 2 needs to come forward. MGS 4 needs to come forward. Killzone, Resistance, Ratchet. Those need to come forward. Other than that, cool. I'll take whatever I can get, but those are the big ones.
There's tons of games you don't even remember.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, Little Big Planet's like a weird one because they recently shut down the online for those. So that kind of sucks. But
to do it over again.
Hey, maybe we've seen it. We've seen it before, So yeah, I'm hopeful because the streets are talking so much about this, but this story breaks every goddamn year, So we'll see. Moving on, topic number 3 for the day. Connor, take it away, my friend.
Well, Xbox keeps talking.
Shut up.
Eurogamer article.
Xbox, shut up. Shut up.
Not this week, Tavin. Not this week. This is from Victoria Kennedy. Xbox's Matt Booty implies Tango Gameworks closure was partly due to leadership change. Xbox's Matt Booty has spoken more on the closure of Tango Gameworks earlier this year, and while he did not name names, it appears that a change in leadership at the Hi-Fi Rush studio was a factor in Microsoft's decision. In conversation with Variety's Strictly Business podcast, the Xbox executive was asked about the closure of Tango Gameworks and whether Microsoft had tried to seek another buyer for the studio. Quote, I won't get into the real sort of nitty-gritty details on, what went into the decision, mostly out of respect for the people there, just because, there was a lot of work that went into delivering Hi-Fi Rush, which was a great game and did well for us, Booty began. Making enemies along the way every step they can.
Fucking just keep stepping on that goddamn rake, Booty.
Yeah. I think the thing to be considered is that for us, it's as much of a forward-looking situation as much as it is looking back at one certain game. There are lots of things that go into success for a game. What leadership do you have? What creative leadership do you have? It's the team that shipped something successful previously. And we have to look at all those things together and then ask ourselves, are we set up for success going forward? And while there may have been factors and situations that previously led to success, they may not all still be in place as you look at what you're doing going forward. Booty seemed to be referring, at least in part, to the departure of Tango Gameworks founder Shinji Mikami last year. Mikami established Tango Gameworks in 2010, with the studio going on to develop the Evil Within series and Ghostwire Tokyo. Prior to this, he worked at Capcom on the Resident Evil series. Booty also seemed to suggest closing down Tango Gameworks wasn't the only option Microsoft considered. He gave examples of previous Xbox-owned studios that have since gone independent, such as Toys for Bob, which now has a publishing deal in place with Microsoft. Quote, I think back to a studio called Twisted Pixel in Texas that we acquired, and then for a sort of change in goals, it wasn't a perfect match for us anymore. But that studio today is still thriving, Booty continued. We wanted to set them up for success, so we absolutely look at what's possible look at what the possible business options are to keep a studio open, to keep, perhaps have it change hands. And it's just one of the things, of course, that we look at across the board. I cannot talk. God damn it.
You're struggling, but you're getting there. You get it. Right.
Booty closed. Sometimes those things come together. Sometimes they don't. As well as Tango Gameworks, Redfall and Dishonored developer Arcane Austin, and Mighty Doom studio Alpha Dog Games were also impacted by Microsoft's closure in May. Many were quick to condemn the company's decision to shutter these studios, with Arcane lion boss Dinga Bakaba and calling it a fucking outstab. Gut stab.
That one's wild. That one. Anyways, hey, Microsoft, what? Shut up.
This is like levels of cope coming out because they are getting shit on so much.
You're just making it worse, man. Just stop fucking talking. Stop talking. Like, that's the thing about this, man. You keep bringing up other examples of things that went right. Mm-hmm. Toys for Bob. What was the other one? That they mentioned. Twisted Pixel. Well, then why didn't you do it for Tango? You're gonna tell. As far as I know, I could be wrong with this, but the founder Shinji Mikami didn't really oversee Hi-Fi Rush like that. He was busy with Ghostwire at the time. So why is him leaving affecting what's going on over here? I don't understand.
It's because there's an obvious thing that they acquired a lot of studios through their Blizzard acquisition, and they possibly wanted to cut corners. Could have been greed. A lot of the more reasonable reasons as to the actual reasons as to why this happened are not ones they're going to say. So they're floundering. They're trying to grab from here and there to try and justify why it failed, why it closed, without directly saying we fucked up. This is
the best narrative that our PR team can figure out, which admittedly is probably the best narrative that there is available, because the other conversations that are actually happening would spell doom and gloom for the situation. So they're trying to spin it, but just stop. Just take the L.
And it's like they just didn't want to go to the effort of seeking those other solutions rather than them just not working out for some reason.
That's how this feels. That's how this comment feels, is you just didn't want to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And so you closed them instead. You didn't let them go. You didn't sell them off to somebody else. You just fucking let it happen. And it's just like, and maybe those ideas maybe they were trying to get that happening and it just didn't happen, business. But the way you're talking about it sounds like you didn't even want to go that route.
No.
Why?
Because they knew they could save a lot of money and time. Because I'm assuming even though you would get money from an acquisition, it takes time and money to even, get that ball rolling in the first place.
Yeah.
Hassle that they didn't want.
It's a shame, and Xbox, you just need to go be quiet for a little while, man. That was a great showcase you put out. It was fantastic. It just felt there was just this dark cloud over it, and you keep talking about the dark cloud. Stop talking about it. I understand you keep getting asked about it, and for good reason. But
stop answering it in the dumbest ways you could.
If you just keep giving us the blanket, hey, yeah, hard decisions had to be made. We're sorry that they had to be made, but business is business. Stop talking about other things that happened, that other routes you could have taken. Stop talking about why these decisions were made. Be quiet. Just be quiet. Lock down and be quiet. Give us a boring, tone-deaf, emotionless PR answer at this point.
That's your role as a company like this.
Yeah.
You have to just stop with the bullshit. It kind of reminds me of like the companies that really partake in Pride Month, for example. The Boys, I don't watch the show, but I know it makes fun of it, where they just like try to say, hey, we're with you.
The corporation part of it, where it's just like, all right, you're not really with us. You're just with us for the dollar.
Yeah, it's like, just stop talking and acting like that's what you're for.
Yeah.
Just do us all a favor, please. Matt Booty, do us all a favor. Just come out and say, you guys suck. Just say that in a form. You can say that in a, like Tavin said, in a way that sounds all business-like and, good for a headline somewhere. But I would stop doing this.
I would rather you be disingenuous then pretend like you're not being disingenuous.
Yeah.
You know? Because then at least I can be like, corporations, what are you going to do? You know? Yeah, it sucks. I don't like it, but this is the world we in. But this just feels like you just keep fucking reminding us of how evil you are. Shut up!
But Tavin, thankfully this is the only possible evil.
Oh, it only gets worse, Connor. Moving into topic number 4, final topic of the day, and your second penny of the day. Fucking goddamn it, driving my goddamn eyes out.
Well, we have an article from GameDeveloper.com. Embracer rolls out new AI policy to massively enhance game development. This is from Chris Kerr. Newly restructured Swedish conglomerate Embracer Group will leverage AI models to bolster game production.
Yuck!
Yeah, right? Ew. Always a very moral company, as we've seen in the past. As noted in Embracer's annual report, the company has adopted a new AI policy package it claims has the capability to, quote, massively enhance, end quote, its production process by, quote, increasing resource efficiency, adding intelligent behaviors, personalization, and optimization to gameplay experiences, end quote. Embracer says that by leveraging AI, it will be able to create more engaging and immersive experiences that provide each player with a unique, dynamic, and personalized experience. We also see great opportunities for AI in game development, speed, logistics, and planning. Embracer Group also understands the potential risks associated with the use of AI, adds the company, noting that AI can also be used within areas such as logistics or HR to improve planning, decision-making, support talent acquisition, and enhance employee experiences or retention. Embracer, which laid off over 1,500 employees and canceled 80 projects during the past year, suggests that not using AI for, quote, relevant tasks will lead to it being outrun by our competitors. The company concedes that adapting AI models isn't without risk, but claims the policy will empower workers to help create more powerful experiences in the same amount of time. Companies within Embracer Group that utilize AI within their operations are subject to general as well as specific laws and requirements that impact the development and use of AI. These requirements are due to the nature of AI applications, comprehensive and require, among others, documentation, risk assessments, as well as continuous updates, reads the company's risk assessment. AI may also produce unethical, biased, discriminatory, or completely wrong results if it has not been properly trained, instructed, or used for purposes it was not designed. Additionally, AI-generated material is not patentable or copyrightable, meaning we must understand how material is produced, especially by third parties, since such material may produce serious copyright or intellectual property issues with the final product. Embracer says AI models won't supplant human workers. It says they state it doesn't want to replace people with AI and is taking a, quote, human-centric approach to the technology, going so far as to claim it could open the door for new hires. It's not just that AI enables our developers to do even more and to become more efficient on certain tasks. It will also open up coding to a broader group of developers. Entry into the industry might be easier for individuals with disabilities who, for instance, cannot use a keyboard as easily as others, said Embracer's head of privacy and AI governance, Thomas Hedman, because he takes your head off. Hedman says the company's risk-aware approach means being cognizant of the pitfalls associated with the AI models. That's why he says Embracer must act consciously. I'm done.
It just keeps going. It keeps going.
It's the most corporate, dumb bullshit you've ever heard in your entire life. You know, these guys are the most inhuman video game company that I can think of right now, except for maybe, you know, Blizzard back in their day or Ubisoft, who have had tons and tons of sexual harassment claims go on. They just have laid off tons and tons of people, and AI is already a new emerging technology that people are unsure if it's going to, well, they're unsure how many people it's going to affect and how many jobs it's going to take away. And, you know, Embracer saying all of these, you know, placating statements really have no weight whatsoever. I want to bring up something that was making its rounds on Twitter, and I'm assuming other famous social media sites.
That video of the lady chick? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I retweeted this.
Yes. I had it. I have it bookmarked.
Well, here, let me say, I'm going to start with we're going to start this conversation with our reactions, our feelings, and our opinions about this. And then we probably will have the conversation about implementing AI into these workspaces, right? Because genie's out of the bottle. You know, we can't put it back in. And so my first reaction is, yuck, gross. No. Don't want it. Don't need it. That video you were talking about.
I have it right here. It was the head of OpenAI, or someone big at OpenAI, Mira Murati, who basically was saying some creative jobs are going to be lost, but really, if they were being lost, they didn't need to be there in the first place. Because at the end of the day, AI comes from people who, there come two groups. Either those that, have money on the mind, and they see AI and all of the money it can bring in, and how much work they can cut. Which, if that involves workers themselves, so be it. We're cutting our bottom line. We're cutting down our bottom line. Yes. Then you have the other people who, this is generally like what people were angry at this video for. Those that can't be creative themselves, and so they defer to trying to take it from other people. Because AI inherently, as a groundwork, uses things that already exist. So it does that and then claims that it's doing it all on its own, that it's basically being sprung up from nowhere. That is not true. And anybody who advocates for AI, in an earnest way like this should not be trusted at all. No, that's not to say people who are interested in AI or what it can do on the positive side of things are, malicious in their intent, but a lot of people are. And the bads, the problems that can come from this are way worse than the good. Sure, you might be able to, curtail some problems that have plagued the industry or other industries for a long time, but how many jobs are going to be lost as a result of that? We're already seeing a horrible year in gaming. This just opens up the gates for something even worse.
And but there is the argument of like, oh, well, new jobs will be created. Things always come around. We always, figure out a new way, this, that, and the third, whatever. Yeah, sure. My problem is that these decisions are being made by that woman that you just quoted just now. And I also saw that video and quote tweeted, uncreative people or people who do not have creativity in them.
Or the respect to it.
Or know how to create. They don't know how to create. They don't know how to have nothing and turn it into something, or have something spawn from nothing. They've never done that in their life. Always undermined how much work it can be and how horribly wrong it goes when the actual creatives are not in charge of the actual art and the actual work here. And video games are based in art. The unfortunate, well, it's not the unfortunate part. It's just the matter of factness of it is that you need artists to make video games. It's just how this industry works.
And when you have the business side of things, that's when the corruption starts.
Yeah.
Because no longer are those decisions made entirely from those creative types, as you said, but the ones who want to make money. Which is good, because that's what funds creatives.
A creative will sit there and create forever and ever and ever and cost a bunch of money that didn't need to be cost. 100% that will happen. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. A creator never feels like their work is done. They just always want to add something, change something, do something different, right? But there's a balance to it. And I would rather err on the side of the creatives than of the business of it. I would always rather do this until the point to where, job loss and closures and all these other things start happening, But it cannot be stressed. If you've never made something in your life, you don't understand that it takes so much longer than you think it does. And it is always so much harder than you think it is. The reason things come out crap is not because creatives are lazy or they're bad or any of these things. Sometimes it is, but it very rarely is. Sometimes it's just shit didn't come together. They thought it wouldn't, it didn't. They tried their best. These are people who are very good at their jobs, very good at doing what they do. And, you get to the end of the finish line, you go, just didn't work. It just didn't come together. And that sucks.
Across the spectrum, you can find some of the, most famous creatives, directors, video game developers, directors, make shit games on their first time or the first couple times.
Everybody's taking an L, man. Yeah. Name your favorite actor, your favorite movie director, your favorite whatever. They've got something bad under their belt because that's where you actually learn is when you do something shit.
Yeah.
And so when you are given amazing things, when you're given peak, it's easy to conflate that into the standard, and that needs to be that is the exception. That is and it deserves even more praise. When you get mid stuff, when you get your sevens, enjoy your sevens because the 7s are where people learn and they figure out how to make 10s. You know? Hey, Lies of P. Not the best game ever made, but certainly a pretty good one, right?
Great one, yeah.
Bet you're excited for what that studio learned from that one, and a Lies of P2 or whatever's coming next, probably going to be better. Or maybe they take a left turn, try something else out, and it doesn't work out. But guess what? Game 3 is going to find the better path after that, assuming all things go well. You know what a great example of this fucking is, Connor? You love to bring it up all the fucking time. FromSoft. Demon Souls, hey, we got something, but it didn't sell. Dark Souls, fuck, this sold a bunch. This worked great. All right, Dark Souls 2, let's try something a little different. Didn't work.
But there were comments that we covered on the show. Miyazaki said that was formative for what came next.
And what came next, Connor? Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, Sekiro, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree. Banger, 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 banger.
And you had a little Armored Core 6 mixed in there. They went another route, and it succeeded there.
Exactly.
How it goes.
You need the people there. You need the minds. You need the heart. You need the soul. And AI inherently strips all of that out. There's no other way to put it. The person needs to be there. That's what's frustrating about this. Now, are there things that can be circumvented and headaches that can be relieved through the use of AI? Yes, absolutely. We're dealing with technology at the end of the day, and if AI can figure out a way to help us interact with technology better and more efficiently, that's always great. The problem is that you motherfuckers want to immediately input AI into the part where the artist is doing the work. And now we got these ugly Frankenstein amalgamations of bullshit that look disgusting, created by AI, and it's just terrible. And you don't get, and maybe at some point it will develop into a point where it gets really, really fucking good. But do you want to fucking live that life where a machine created something that doesn't live and breathe created something? I don't. There's no statement with AI. Artists make statements with all of their art, every single part of it. You motherfuckers that are like, oh, don't make my game political. Don't be so political, all this. Everything is political. Every single thing. Every single motherfucking thing under the sun is political in one way or another. Now, it may be more upfront with its political sayings than anything else, but without the ability to say something, the art is nothing. And nothing will kill human soul 100% of the time.
And everything else comes down from that, To dive once again into the specific things that Embracer is advocating for, well put, by the way, Tavin, very well put. They try to fall back and say, hey, we're going to abide by the laws that are set forth with AI. There's two main problems. The first of which, it's pretty obvious, AI is an emerging technology. The laws aren't necessarily, keeping up with the things that the industries are doing. Because laws, if you didn't know, take time to do and to implement.
You got to figure out what's fucked up.
Yeah. Companies, they can do that way quicker. They can enact some kind of change in, a span of a week, a month, within a year. They get a lot more leeway in that sense. And they can, get the ability to not only poison the well by, depending on the industry. This more often goes outside of the realm of gaming, since as far as I'm knowledgeable about, there's not really a tight grip the video game industry has in the government. I don't think there's many political action committees repping for Ubisoft.
So video games very global.
Yeah, exactly. But, sometimes if it benefits a lawmaker to allow AI for their own personal reasons, a law to slip by, they might just do so. Why do they give a shit? We're talking about the same vein as the business people who don't have that creative spirit. Congress people, while they might, generally are going to be less inclined to be the creative ones. In addition to that, though, a lot of people in our government are old. You can go and see a lot of different hearings that have been held, people like Google, the Tik Tok one that occurred recently, and it becomes readily apparent that the aides some of these congressmen have on their staff are the only reason why they're able to talk about, emerging technologies in any way, shape, and form, even things like Facebook. And so you can't rely on them to make laws to help out workers, to not be abused by the use of AI. So that is just one of many things that just are so obviously a way to try and push attention away from the fact that we're probably going to do some fucked up things with it, but we're going to tell you all of these, nice soothing words to make it seem like we're not going to do.
And I mean, it's happening now. We live in the age. We've always lived in the age of, monetization is king, right? How can I make a quick buck off of this? How can I make money off of this? Now in the internet age, it's clicks, eyeballs, time. That is what's monetized here because people don't have the amount of time that they used to have because it all got filled up with a bunch of bullshit of life. But that's beside the point. You see it happening right in our faces. Connor, I'm going to bring up something that might make you cringe a little bit, but it's within the conversation, so you'll hop back on. We recently had. I'm a big hip hop head, as you know, and we recently had undisputably the largest hip hop beef of all time. The most amount of eyes, the biggest splash. Everybody was talking about it. XYZ things,
By far,
it was huge.
I thought this was going to be about Star Wars.
The biggest pop star, or one of the biggest pop stars in the world, Drake, Aubrey Graham, who participated in this beef against Kendrick Lamar, had a track using AI to make his voice sound like Snoop Dogg and Tupac. And for those who may not know, Snoop Dogg, out doing his own thing, did not co-sign this at all. So Drake just made Snoop Dogg say these things. And then Tupac has been dead for almost 30 years and is a massive, massive figure in hip-hop. Basically, the ideal image of what a hip-hop artist is and what it means to live and embody hip-hop. And his impact on black culture is absolutely still felt to this day. To Weekend at Bernie's him to do a little rap feud is disgusting. And it's absolutely a test because Drake is in the pockets of his big labels because he has to be, right? So you're looking at Atlantic, you're looking at Apple, you're looking at, I don't even know who else because I don't keep close enough attention to Drake's label deals like that. They are watching the response to that track and seeing what can they get away with from here. You're going to see more of it, of this puppetry of the dead or the puppetry of the lost art coming back to life so that we can say, oh, we brought it back. Look at us. We brought Tupac back. Oh, wow, that's great. Now he can make new rap songs and do all these things. And you know what's fucked up about even that, Connor? They don't even have to say that it was made by AI. They can say, oh, these are tracks that were lost in the vault.
Mm-hmm.
And how, at some point, how would we as the people know?
It's definitely gross. AI. It's hard for me not to be dour on AI because I really only see the bad things that it brings rather than the good ones. I acknowledge them, but I think it's outweighed. But that might just be, me. Usually I'm the guy who's like, no, I'm not. When it comes to technology, I think people complicate things sometimes. AI being one of them. Now, complicated it in a way that, could actually help workers in the long run. Just that element of, well, think about the negatives are too great to just co-sign on.
At some point, we as humans need to say, is it worth it? Like, maybe the effort should stay where it is. Maybe the level of technology should stay where it is because we're getting to the point to where we're letting it run rampant way too much. Listen, Hollywood writers have been telling this story for 50 years, man. Books have been written about this for 100 years. These things are dangerous. And we're watching in real time us spill out into the most ridiculous sci-fi movie you've ever watched, Terminator can be more than just an idea in a fun movie.
I mean, the military, I was thinking of that when you were saying it. The military is delving more and more and more into AI. I know that there was a system. Now, take this with a grain of salt because they've lied lots, but the Israeli government has apparently been using AI to determine what targets to strike. So, like I said, it's kind of a way that they could possibly pawn it off to this system, but it's an AI system that determines effectively who lives and who dies.
Yeah.
That's the extreme aisle of things, but AI can be a tool of extremes, depending on how it's used and depending on how it develops. So it's fearful when you hear things like this because we know what the intent of somebody like Embracer is. It talked about the mixing up of their conglomerate. One of those, they basically said I don't remember the exact words, we are going to milk the Lord of the Rings franchise for all it's worth.
Extort Lord of the Rings.
Extort it. That was the word.
Yeah.
Horrible use of the word.
Yeah.
And that's who pushes AI in such a, enthusiastic manner. Anybody that does so, look at the side of your eye because they're not being reasonable. That's for sure.
At some point, we just need to stop and we just need to say, hey, we could go down that road. And there's always going to be a creative mind that wants to, or not creative, an inquisitive mind that wants to go, well, what happens when we do go down that road? What can we do? But at some point, we just need to stop answering these questions and just say, it's not worth it. And we need to find the morality in it. And right now, we're not doing that. We're not even trying to do that. So it's important to be as loud as you possibly can. No, we don't want AI in our art. We don't want it in movies. We don't want it in music. We don't want it in posters or pictures or any type of artistry at all. We don't want it in our video games, for damn sure.
And they'll be sneaky with it at first. Warned.
They'll be more than sneaky with it, and more than at first.
My last thing is there was like the Devil Late at Night. It looked like an interesting horror movie. Apparently, it was good. Where it's all like done from the perspective of a talk show in the 70s, and it's an exorcism and whatnot.
Okay.
It got super, like I said, well received. But in the images, they were AI generated.
I do know this. Yeah,
and it's kind of people realized that all of a sudden, and it turned this cool, solely passion project that was interesting to being synthetic.
Feels weird.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel real, and you can't relate to it.
Exactly.
It just doesn't look good. You look at the MCU Secret Invasion used AI to create their intro title sequence. It looks awful. You know what? The rest of the show kind of felt pretty fake and garbage and unrelatable alongside that. So, it's just these things that, like, when it starts being implemented, you can feel it. And the problem is that at some point you won't be able to feel it anymore. And then where are we as a human species after that,
Dead.
You ever seen WALL-E? That's not a fun place to be.
Well, you get to be on a ship and eat a bunch of food.
It's not a good thing.
But they looked happy.
No, they weren't. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for your Two Penny Games Cast, episode 205. Remember, you can get this show every Tuesday, 8 a.m. Central Time, youtube.com/@TwoPennyGames, and mainstream podcast services of your choice. Remember, you can watch us live Monday afternoons, twitch.tv/TwoPennyGames, and follow us for all of our updates on Twitter, on TikTok, and all other platforms. Links are in the description down below. Next week is the return to the Two Penny Game Club, our monthly video game book club. That's right, Connor. It's time to review Dead Cells.
The roguelike.
We've been playing it. It's time to review it and rank it amongst the others. And then also find out what you want us to play for the next month. So make sure you like, subscribe, turn on the bell, and drop a comment down below to drop your 2 cents in the comments below. Until next time, have a great time. Connor, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye.